If you like what I do, consider joining my channel or donating to my coffee. Links in the description.
Metroidvania demo impressions.
Hey, it's the Metroidvania Guru, and welcome back to my Demo Impression series, where I play through a demo, give you my impressions, and it's a series. Today's video is sponsored by Game Eon Studios and AM Playhouse, and I'll be playing their game slated to release this December called Flee the Fallen. It's a side-scrolling survival action horror game that asks the question, what if Resident Evil were a Metroidvania? With promises of survival horror, resource management, and lots of zombies, I'm more than willing to hear them out. So, what's Flee the Fallen all about? You play as an unnamed young man who's holed himself up in a house, presumably to hide away from the zombie outbreak. With food and resources dwindling, he decides waiting around is no longer an option, grabs a gun, and sets out to look for help. Combat in Flee the Fallen is what you'd expect from a game teeming with the undead. A little bit of melee, and a whole lot of shooting. You start with a knife, a pistol, and a very tiny amount of ammo. Obviously, your gun's the best option for taking down undead jabronis. It's powerful and keeps you out of harm's way. But, as is the case with all survival horror games, bullets run out, so conserving ammo is your best bet. That's where your knife comes in. You have unlimited stabbing, so melee's a great option to preserve your bullets. But melee also comes with the risk of getting bitten, so you gotta be careful, especially when zombies start to swarm, which they most definitely will. Moreover, you also have a stamina bar. Shooting your gun costs 0 stamina, but melee attacks and rolls eat away at your bar with each use. And when you're out of stamina, there's no attacking or rolling for you until it recovers. And that's bad news when the crowd gets restless. Thankfully, you got some crowd control. Grenades are perfect to calm any undead riots blocking your path, but they take a moment to go off, so planning and proper timing go a long way. And as fun as it is watching hordes of zombies crumble, I typically saved my explosives for the bigger enemies. No joke, the game got a legit jump out of me when this dude appeared. Zombies will swarm you from the left and right, and while most are brainless fodder you can take out with 3 or 4 shots, a crowd can overwhelm you if you're not careful. And crowds can be especially dangerous when enemy varieties start mixing. Zombie cops and Fatty Arbuckle here fire projectiles, and though taking them down is high priority whenever they show up, it's kinda tough to take them down when 4 or 5 shambling idiots are blocking your shots. This is where the game's challenge starts to poke its maggot-filled head. Managing crowds while dodging projectile vomit and gunfire is much more fun than it sounds. Throw in a big guy carrying a frickin' tree as a club, and you got yourself a little monster party. But don't fret, you can even the odds with your ever-expanding arsenal. I was able to find a revolver and a shotgun, and those were plenty enough to settle down even the most rambunctious of undead hootenannies. You can swap guns with a tap of the right bumper, and if you're running low on health, go into your menu and use a med pack. Obviously, don't go nuts with all the shooting and healing, as this is a survival horror game and items are scarce. Thankfully, defeated enemies randomly drop items, and you can search specific places for consumables and key items. The game also has a couple of other mechanics to help you conserve your ammo. Every so often, you'll get a critical, which kills zombies instantly, and there's a stun mechanic that works very similarly to the stun mechanic in Resident Evil 4. Remember how you could cap a ganado in the knee and follow it up with a suplex? You can do something similar in Flee the Fallen. If you hit an enemy and they slump, you can follow up with a devastating knee or kick to finish them off in one hit, quickly dispatching the zombie as well as saving your precious bullets. I got to face one boss in this demo, and he hit hard. He had a lot of projectiles, and his grenade could stop my grenade mid-air, which wasn't very good for my health. As far as platforming goes, there's not a lot here. Levels have very little verticality, but when they do, you're bound to find cool items as well as safer passage through zombie-infested areas. When it comes to exploration, you have yourself a map that tracks all the forks in the road for you when you enter the city, and I found it super helpful. The levels in this demo were mostly long stretches filled with respawning zombies, and so having the map help me keep track of the different paths was a lifesaver. I would have liked to have been able to pin the map, as a puzzle in the game required you to go to a specific location to find keys to unlock stuff. As for the game's presentation, I like it. The visuals reminded me of my high school days of playing Flash games instead of listening to my computer lab teacher. I liked the enemy design. You can't really go wrong with zombies and crows, but the big dude with the fleshy tumor and the tentacles was pretty cool. And the demo's final boss was interesting. It was like his body fused with his weapons. Overall, what are my thoughts on Flee the Fallen? I liked it. It's combat simplistic with depth to keep it from getting boring, and I can see how adding more enemies into the mix will change the game's dynamic, as well as adding more powerful weapons. I like games with limited resources when they give you tools and mechanics to help you with conservation. A little more level variety would be nice. There's lots of long stretches and not a lot of verticality in this demo, though I saw some promising segments in the game's trailer, so that's something to look forward to. And though I had fun with this demo, I didn't really see a lot of Metroidvania-ness in it. Perhaps the Metroidvania-ness is more apparent in the full release coming out this December. I shall be waiting with a bated breath. I want to thank Game Eon Studios and AM Playhouse once again for supporting the channel. I have a link to Flee the Fallen's demo in the description and pinned comment. Go give the game a shot and tell me what you think about it. And why not wishlist it while you're there? And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time, later nerds.